Okay, good afternoon everyone. This is Alinaitwe Mkonyezi. I welcome you back in the next tutorial. The other day we had the first introductory tutorial where I introduced myself, I talked about myself, I told you the benefits of these tutorials, and I really can't fail to emphasize once again on the guard against coronavirus, that fight. We had that pandemic and it's all over the world. We expect everyone to join hands with other people to try to fight this pandemic. I want to feel sorry for the students, including myself. I'm also a student at some point, but I want really to feel sorry for you, those who had started the term, those who had started the semester, and it did not go well for you. This is the world. We have always to get prepared for whatever comes across us, and that means we need to always get prepared, always be prepared. I remember when I was still in primary here in Uganda, I was in scouting. We used to say, be prepared is our motto. Okay, I want to welcome you to our second tutorial. This is the tutorial that is introducing us to computers, and remember in the first tutorial I said those who feel wants to learn basics in computing, those who feel they want to take through a short course in computer, this is the right channel for you to subscribe to. This is the right tutorial for you to watch, and I'm going to be making more classes, more tutorials that you need to watch continuously so that you learn. These tutorials will be taking you through the theoretical and part of it, and also the real practical for computing. Okay, I will get time also talk about the things that we may cover, if one should cover, if is to take on a short course in computer basics. As I said, I'm Alinaitwe Mkonyezi from Mountains of the Moon University in Uganda here. I want to welcome everyone who would like to go through with us. Okay, remember I said keep a distance of 4 meters. That is what here in Uganda they are telling us, but I hope all over the world they are keeping a distance. And also avoid touching your delicate parts, the eyes, the nose and the mouth, so that we fight together this COVID-19. So schools closed, education is on hold, but in technology education is still continuing. People are using different platforms, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, even YouTube videos, YouTube tutorials. Okay, they're using them. So I want to encourage you guys to keep up to date. The other day I talked about internet, and we said internet is used for learning purposes. So learners, students, don't get bored. Use internet, go and watch different YouTube videos, then you continue with your studies, you continue with your class. Okay, I believe we'll make it, and everyone has to join hands. Okay, let me try to do something here, yes. Okay, so it's here. Okay, let's look at the first slide here. First slide is talking about what we are going to cover. That is Basics 1, Computer Basics 1. So we shall look at 2 lectures or lessons. The first lecture will be Introduction to Computers, and the second one will be Common Computer Terminology. Remember, in each and every subject. We have different topics that we talk about. We have different languages we use. We have different terminologies that we use. Therefore, I want to call upon you to follow us. Also, in computer, we have our own terminology. We have our own language that we use. Okay, we have the language that we use. So please mind to go through with us. So I normally like this motto: we can works. So if we all subscribe to this channel, if we all love computer, then we are going to make it. It will work for us. It will work for us. I'm telling you. So I want to start with the first slide that is talking about computer systems, and we'll start with the system because it's the overall, it's what we're going to talk about. Okay, therefore I want to tell you the system is a complete set. It should be complete in a sense that there is even a person using it. There is a user who's using a computer, so that becomes a system. So we are going to mainly base on a few things to describe the system. For example, we are starting with the keyboard. For the computer users, or if you are seated on a computer, in front of you there is a keyboard. There is what we are calling a keyboard, which is in this case described as the input. Okay, so we use the keyboard to input something, to send signal, electronic signals, to our other part that is next after this. So a keyboard is an input device that whenever we are typing, whenever we're doing something, it is sending something somewhere. So we are looking at the arrow pushing it to the processor. So the processor in a system is what does the translation. So it does the translation of what a user, you, input into the computer. So it tries to translate. Therefore, even what is translated is sent somewhere, which is the monitor, or in this case the output device. Okay, so we input, process, and output. But after all that is done, then we do what we call storage. We store. We expect after you, the user, sits on the computer, you input something. After you have input, something is processed. From processing, it is outputted. Then after outputting, you expected to store. So we may store in two different ways. One is by printing. You can print a hard copy. You can print on paper something. Okay, you can print on paper. You can as well store on the storage devices. In a computer itself, there is what we call a hard disk, which is a storage device. It is a storage device. So you can store that way. But also you can store using other external storage devices, such as a flash disk, a memory card, an external hard disk. All those are storage devices. So mainly the input, the processing, the output, and the storage makes up a system. They makes up a system. So with that, then let's move to the second slide, which is about what we are going to look at, our objectives. Okay, so we are saying after completing this first lecture, you will be able to describe the following. You'll be able to describe the importance of computers in today's life or in today's world. For example, look at what the situation we are in. Look at COVID-19. How do you take advantage of your computer? Then we are going to look at that. How do you use a computer to go through different situations, to go through different hard times? So also identify the main parts of the computer. Identify the steps for starting a computer. identify the different groups of keys on the keyboard, and later on also we shall look at basics on how to perform different tasks using the mouse. Okay, so we have different reasons, different roles performed by the computer, but these roles are performed somewhere. I remember one time I was conducting a class, one student asked me, why do we study computer now? Where do you think we're going to apply computers? So I really want to inform everyone. I used to say computer is like a circle. It's all round. A computer can be applied everywhere. A computer can be used everywhere. So here is a list of some of the fields where one can apply the skills you get after going through the basics, after you've attained different skills in computing. Okay, so one is the business and the industry. Computers are applied there. Wherever you go in this era, you find computers in different offices. So in business, if you want to run a business, then a computer works there. In an industry, people are using computers. In the publication field, in education field, for example, I'm using a computer right now to take you through. Go to different schools, they're using computers to study. We're using different gadgets, we're using different equipments to study, but those are computerized equipments. Then in the government organization, I think even in non-governmental organizations, in the medical field, I remember one time my friend was working in a hospital, but very many people used to call him doctor because that person was seated on a computer and was like the overall. So they used to see this guy like the doctor. So in the medical field, computers are used there. In the social field, entertainment, name them. So if you fail to get something, to use your skills in the business, you can use them in the industry somewhere. If you can't use them there, you can find yourself in publications. If you don't find them, the opportunity there, you can find it in education. If you don't find it in education, you can find it in the medical field. So computer is all round. Okay, so before we end this tutorial, let's look at this last slide that we're talking about parts that make up a computer, or parts of the computer. So as we go on with the next tutorial, we are going to look at different parts in details, but here we have a summary of what we are going to mainly focus on. On our previous slide, we talked about different sections that make up a system, and we looked at the input devices, where here we cited the keyboard, but there are very many input devices, including the mouse and many more. We shall also look in details the output devices. On the other previous slide, we looked at the monitor as an example. We have speakers and many more. Central processing unit and the memory, the motherboard, the expansion cards, the hard drive ports and connectors, all of them will be looked at before we end the lecture today. So thank you for watching, and let's meet in the next video. Please mind to subscribe to this.